going to talk a little bit about technology and the impact it's had on your businesses. And to discuss that, the next panel is called Hotel Technology in 2022 and Beyond. And I'd like to call on stage the panel led by Jackie Leat, Hospitality Lead at Frank Innovation and Transformation. We've got Suresh, Managing Director of RevMate, Justin DeVille, Group Chief Executive Officer, Liverton Technology, Edwin Regional Manager from STAAH, Benjamin Krieg from Futrelog, Oceania. Please welcome your panel. Thank you.
I'm Jackie from Frank Technology. I'm here to moderate the panel today. As Adrian said, I work for clients helping them navigate the technology platforms and help them pick the systems and come up with the requirements, potentially install them. So I've been 30 years in the industry, and I think most of our panel has as well. Adrian introduced quickly, we got Justin at the end from Liverton. He specialises in hotel technologies, including the VIN card. Next up, we've got Benjamin, who works for Futrelog. They're a global procurement company. Next along, we have Edwin down there. He's an ex-hotelier, and he works for STAAH, who specialise in hotel distributions. Next up is Paul Lambert, who's digital hospitality. He's up from Christchurch, and he's very much in the television, Triax, he's got the shirt on, space, Wi-Fi, VoIP, and guest engagement. And last but not least, Suresh here with U Hotel, Innovate, and RevMate. Excellent, excellent. So leading into this, we obviously know that technology is never been more important than it is now. It's as important, Wi-Fi is as important as water and lights to our guests. Everything and anything with a cable in a room now is considered IT, be it the lights, be it the air conditioning, even walking around is with sensors and geolocation. So technology is very much a part of it. You've heard earlier today about things like blockchain and things that are coming way down the track, but we thought we'd focus on right here, right now, what can technology do to help the hoteliers here today. With the experience industries, we've all seen in the last 24 months, the trends, the challenges, and hopefully we can share some insights into that. Given the labour shortages, the lean operations we have, what I'd like to do is ask each panellist, what are the trends that you're seeing to help manage costs, to help increase revenue and improve efficiency in the current climate? So Justin?
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. I think what we're seeing is a bit of a shift in the last 24 months to self-service technology and automation. There's back of house, front of house. Obviously we have a self-service kiosk and app. It's up probably 500% in the last 12 months alone. So I think the industry's starting to finally catch on to the fact that they can actually adopt and deliver technologies to the guests that actually automate the process. And you're seeing, what they've done in the airports for probably 10 years and supermarkets in 5 years finally sort of start to enter the hospitality sector. And I think you'll start to see that grow as the technologies becomes more stable and more mature.
Sure. And so Ben, Justin's customer facing, your technologies, the back of house, the operations, what trends are you seeing?
Yeah, we're seeing a big push, particularly through everything in cloud, so moving legacy systems off premise and moving them onto cloud solutions. People wanting the availability in mobile apps, and they want it in a mobile app that has no cost, so staff can use their own telephones. You don't have to have capital outlay on that. And the other area that we're really seeing a lot is the improved automation, whether it's through AI and or other technologies, to really take a lot of the manual labour out of a lot of work and admin, because what we've seen is as teams are returning back, you've got less headcount on the ground, so you need them to be more efficient and definitely don't want them in non-value adding work.
Excellent. So Edwin, you're with the online, the channel management, the distribution, what technologies are you seeing that'll help?
What we are seeing currently is tech tools that are talking to each other, fully integrated, which we in tech terms is called as APIs, basically to make the life of a hotelier easy. So we're seeing that integration taking place happen in as Ben said, in terms of even legacy system moving to cloud. So
And
we're seeing that on a positive.
Are they playing better together nowadays? Because historically, systems haven't played well together, talk well. So are you seeing an improvement in that?
Absolutely. We've integrated with 350 partners in there, right? From payment gateways to OTAs to PMSs to upsell solutions, and you name it, and it's not ending. So, and that's actually benefiting the hoteliers in there to make their life easy.
Excellent. So Paul, from your perspective?
We're seeing a big reduction in linear pay TV, cutting the costs in that, and then heading more to people bringing their own content, casting, and a lot of the systems are heading more for not cloud, but remote management. So the clever stuff of moving channels around for TVs and all of that doesn't need an installer or a technician to come to the site. And in fact, some of the systems going in now are reporting back any of the problems before someone in the hotel even realises there's a channel down or a service is down. So it's fixed before they even know there's an issue. And that's, saving money.
Excellent. Cool. Suresh?
Look, it's been a really exciting 24 months, and very similarly, we're seeing a real sharp trend in really adopting technology, adopting the kind of automations, especially in the space of revenue and pricing. Smart applications, messaging would be another part. So it's quite amazing how technology has now made it so easy without a lot of overheads for us to do a lot more. And one small example, especially from our point of view, is that, to do a job today as a revenue manager at a fraction of the cost is actually possible. We are seeing it both as an operator as well as being in the technology space as well.
Thank you very much. So the second question we have is around managing costs. An example of this, down at Millbrook, we did a time and motion study and figured out what we could streamline and automate, and we've saved like half a person's role. But by taking that exercise, and that was using tools that we have, things like Microsoft 365, and using the tools that are within that to actually do that streamlining. But for properties that are seeking to manage costs, what are the trends for a digital presence that you're seeing? Edwin, I'll start with you.
What I would say is, in terms of tools that are available, in terms of free tools, Google, as the presentation said, is a big insights in there to understand the analytics, understand your audience is important. There are free tools available. And I think I'm an ex-hotelier just like you guys, and a few years ago, technology for me as well was overwhelming. But learning that on a day-to-day basis has sort of enriched my own life, and now it's no longer challenging. So taking that on board and giving it a shot is important.
Cool, thank you. So Suresh, from your perspective, what sort of tools are you seeing that'll help the costs?
Look, I think taking advantage of a lot of the free marketing tools that are actually out there is extremely important as well. Some examples are QR coding your Wi-Fi access. It doesn't cost anything at all, but it's a very quick fix instead of going in there and typing out the password and so on and so forth. Digital compendiums in a very similar fashion. That would be another part as well. Social media, just doing social media with what you have in-house and doing it well effectively is another part. And messaging is something that we can also take advantage of. And just for a small cost, I guess, having some really good video digital content that obviously gets into the SEO space, that increases your ranking organically. These are some of the cost-effective things that I would say.
Excellent, thank you very much. And Ben, since it's obviously in your domain as well, saving costs, what are you seeing?
Yeah, look, being property facing or B2B facing, the big areas that we see is you've got to have a look at the existing workflows and how you can refine them. and you've got to think practically at a property level as to could somebody actually do this, particularly with downsized teams. You might have the best technology in the world, but if it's not going to save time or easy to do, we know as hoteliers they're just not going to do it. So that's really important. And then the other thing is managing data. So, you know, we take tens of thousands of data points every single day with our systems, but then having it in an analytical tool or a BI tool so you can actually reduce the time spent on manually putting data in to make decisions. That's another big part where you can make massive cost savings when you're managing the data and reviewing the data, because so many people collect it, but very few people use it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing around, you know, everyone's big data, everyone talks about it, but how in a practical sense can people utilise the data that they collected? So moving along, so what I've seen in terms of there's a greater role in terms of technology in the space, but as hoteliers there's a little bit of paralysis because people don't know what systems to go for, and is it going to be obsolete by the time we put it in, and the huge, you know, capital cost that comes with it, and justifying the ROI. But the current environment, a lot of people are effectively being forced to, because with fewer staff, you have to look at technology as an option to solve some of the problems. So my question is how do hoteliers prioritise which technology they take on when there's so many options out there? And what opportunities do you see in response to the pandemic and the tighter labour market? And I'll start with you, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably historically tech's been a relatively small budget for hotels, so I'm hoping some of the changes will lead to that being a bigger investment, and you know, I'm hoping a lot of the solutions that are out there now, you can start to see the actual ROI coming through on them. But I mean, I think you've got to look across everything you're working on and where you can deliver savings. Obviously, things like mobile key are rolling out at pace. They're not massive. It's not a massive cost to do that in most cases, especially if you're refurbing a property. You know, you want fully integrated systems that connect with other systems, so you don't have to upgrade later to achieve things. You don't necessarily have to always bring things online straight away. So I think there's a number of ways that, you know, working with vendors around trying to get a strategy in place. And if you think of mobile key, you can you know, basically do the whole process without a person. So there's some real savings to a lot of properties and actually executing against that.
So we've seen the mobile key adopted overseas a lot, that like Citizen M being an example of them taking away the staff and using the tech in front of it. The adoption rate in New Zealand, how is that going?
It's picking up at pace, so we would not sell a lock now without a mobile application inside it, whether it's turned on straight away or not. Uptake is growing. I think it's always going to be one of several ways to process a guest. It's not going to be for everybody. Vincard and ASAP have actually delivered through Apple now a digital key without an app, so you can actually do it from a web interface. And I think there's a few challenges with Apple around, because Apple want to charge $5 a key for it, which is not going to work, as you know. But you know, if those can be solved, that's, you know, there's some real power in some of that technology. And I think you know, we're entering a maturity phase now, probably in some of this early maturity. So hopefully more hotels will start to adopt it as they can see uptake growing.
Cool. So we've seen, for example, in the fruit industry, you know, that we literally can't get the staff in, and there's bringing the machines in to pick the fruit to solve that problem. And we hear about machine learning and AI, those sort of technologies. So Benjamin, what are you seeing in terms of that side and that adoption, and how tech can help us with the labour market and the costs?
Yeah, look, I think, and I listened to the CEO panel earlier on, I think the last 2 years has given a lot of people some perspective to re-look at their business and then try to work out how they're going to come out of it leaner, with maybe downturn in revenues running through for an extended period of time. I think with that technology, it's no longer an option. It needs to be a choice. So with so many cloud solutions, there's a usually a low cost for our sort of STAAH software solution. There's no capital investment, no sizable investment. And then on the side of where it's really modernising are the things like BI and machine learning, whereby we can then start to take even more processes out of the current system. So if it saved 10 keystrokes per person per day, you know, you can start to really reduce down workflows, particularly in a multi-tasking environment with so many staff doing multiple roles now.
And in terms of the technology you're seeing, because it used to be you were either paying a big capital cost or you were locked in for 3 or 4 years with it, which obviously makes it hard for people to dip their toes in to see if it's a technology that'll work for them. Is that shifting, that mind, that offering products and the technology without locking people in so they can see if it is going to have those benefits for them?
Yeah, look, I think there is a balance. You know, we're fortunate that we've got a pretty low investment module, and so we now offer discounts for multiple year contracts, but then we offer it on a single year. And I think the way that the world's moving, everyone's used to a Netflix scenario where you can have it 1 month and you can cancel. So unfortunately, and fortunately, that mentality is working through in a lot of other services, which poses its challenge. So I think with technology companies such as ours, it makes it really important to make it sticky, make it really at a benefit with a quick ROI, or if not, usually people will pull the pin quite quickly. Well, that's what I see in our area.
Cool, thanks very much. So Edwin, obviously in your space, you know, how do people prioritise and what are the technologies you're seeing they should be looking at?
As Benjamin mentioned, in terms of online tools, pay-as-you-go is sort of becoming a norm, and I think hoteliers are required to adapt to that, because when I was in hotels, you'd always wait for a capex budget to get some things approved in these things, and these days it doesn't cost a fortune. So, and not necessarily at the beginning you would get the right tool in there, but pay-as-you-go is a good solution. You pay monthly. If it works for a few months, go ahead and subscribe to it. If not, switch over to another competitor if need be. So solutions are available, and I think the senior management has got to take that role to see what works for them and change and adapt.
Fail fast then.
Beg pardon?
Fail fast.
Yeah.
Get on to the next one. Excellent. So Paul, obviously in the TV and that sort of digital space, it's a bit harder to do take a bite without a bit more investment. But in terms of the technologies and what people should be looking at, what are you seeing?
Well, I'll start by not going on the TV. I'm going to say in-room, fast Wi-Fi. That's what people want immediately. Then they turn on the television once they've logged on. Digital compendium, which is a great way of updating and putting your services to get more revenue from the client. That's another way of putting a QR code onto the TV screen for the customer to join the Wi-Fi if they haven't already. And then the other one is the casting solution, which allows them to bring their Netflix, and everyone talks about Netflix, however, Netflix has lost a lot of subscribers. Disney Plus, Amazon, and they'll keep coming. You want the customer to come along and bring their own content, and they will put it onto the telly.
That's certainly our observation at Millbrook. When you look at the numbers, we're offering all the channels there, but there's still, it's YouTube and Netflix on our internet. Yeah. That's the highest use. So they'd rather watch their own content on their little iPhone than what you're serving up on the TV. So in terms of, how easy is it to allow the guests and add technology so guests can now watch their own content, but on the infrastructure you have in the room?
Yeah, and the technology's moved on in such a way that we can actually deploy this high-speed internet. We can actually deploy it on cables laid into a room from 30 years ago. We can just deploy this technology.
The coax and the twisted pair?
Yeah, and the twisted pair, yeah. Coax can deliver fibre speed into a room, access point on there, Wi-Fi.
You don't have to recable.
You don't have to. It can be installed in, several days without taking out a guest room.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. So last but not least.
Okay, so if anyone built a technology solution that could clean rooms and make beds, I think they'll be a billionaire overnight, just putting it out there. But for us, it's quite simple. Every property is unique. And so I think if you chose a technology product that's going to give you the biggest impact in the shortest space of time, I believe that's where the value is, and that's where the investment, ideas need to obviously take place.
So what's the trick to calculating that ROI though for a hotel? Because I think that's the hardest part is how do you measure that it's going to make a difference to the bottom line?
So I guess each hotel has got different pain points. For some it might be a door lock solution. For some people it might just be staffing. It might be, different parts of it. And I think if you took the time to put your top 3 pain point solutions down and see what is out there and really forming a solution, and like what you said just now, Edwin, that there are so many integrations that actually speak to each other right now, that possibility of that happening is so much more available and so much easier, and that's where I basically do that.
Chatbots. What do we think of chatbots? Anyone got strong views on chatbots?
I think they're great. I think they're really, really good it's what you put in at the back of it that is going to be able to deliver everything else on the outside. So I think making sure that you're putting in 120% and thinking about all the weird stuff that people ask, and you can actually make it quite fun, I think it works out well.
I'll just add to that, if the AI chatbot can direct it to your booking engine, go for it.
But I think with chatbots, the one thing that's really important is you can't make it impossible to get to a person. I think that's quite important, because sometimes a chat point reaches a level where it can't answer it, and if you've then got to go through 27 steps to get to somebody, you defeat the benefit of what you're gaining.
Sure.
I think that the first step is, as Paul was saying, the digital compendium. If you can reduce the number of calls that are coming to your reception, to your front desk, that's saving you money. So if the information's there, but it can't be a static PDF that people have to scroll through. It can't literally be just a scan of your paper compendium. You have to put a little bit more into that. But for each call that you reduce, if they can find it easily in the room, be it by QR code or on the TV that's easily to navigate, that's going to save time as well and save costs. And then chatbots beyond that. But there is that line between how frustrating it is to not get the specific answer to your question. So it would need to be, you need to make sure that it works. You would want to trial that before you threw a lot at that. I think we've got time for one more question, and I have the mobile microphone now. It's hard to see out there. No questions? Cool. Well, if everyone wants a parting comment.
Invest more in IT.
Brilliant.
Benjamin?
Yeah, look, I think similar to what we spoke about earlier, people should make the jump and make the decision. If you've got the opportunity to trial something, do a proof of concept, test it. And I think what's also important is don't limit yourself to progress within technology just because you're worried that you've got 3 projects that you're doing this year or something, because quite often you can be surprising how quickly the benefits can be gained from it. So you should have an open mind.
Thank you. Edwin?
Don't fear the unknown. Go where no man has gone before.
Excellent. And it's interesting because that was feedback that came via Sally Turner from the Heritage, as she went to a seminar at High Tech over in Orlando, and everyone wants to see the new technology, but no one's prepared to go first. So you're not going to get the new technology if you're not prepared to take a punt on that. So Paul?
Yeah, look for partners that can deliver and will back up and fix the issues. Technology is always great when it's working. Sometimes it takes a wee bit to stabilise, but once you get it stable and running, it's brilliant. And just get a good partner that's going to look after you and help you with all the systems that go in.
Suresh?
Yeah, once again, if someone can find that a technology to make beds and clean rooms, call me.
Excellent. And I'm saying that, as an IT team, we've finished on time and on budget, which is a rare event in itself as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.